I've had several requests for a more thorough demonstration of how I use Gamsol odorless mineral spirits to blend my Prismacolor pencils. So, Eva LeVay, this is for you. I start out by, I printed off one of my doodles, which are available in my Etsy shop, shameless plug, and start out by coloring the whole thing with a bunch of different neutral colored Prismacolor pencils. I know my computer just sounds like a jet that's getting ready to take off, and I apologize for that. Several of y'all have mentioned how distracting that is. It's my processor. It's just, when I do a voiceover, it taxes my poor little computer, and it's doing the best it can to keep up. So I hope that you can overlook that. Okay, yes, continue coloring. You don't have to be neat about it because you're going to blend the holy heck out of it. The reason I start out with these neutrals, and I don't do this every time, but I've been doing it a lot lately because it just gives the whole thing a more, a richer, warmer look in the end. And you do have to use Prismacolors. There may be other pencils that will work, but they need to be really soft and waxy like the Prismacolors, and I'm not really sure what other brands are out there that are similar. I've never run across any. I haven't looked too hard either because I love my Prismacolors. So we get along fine. I'm using a very light touch. I'm a really heavy-handed colorer, so I sometimes have to pull back on my pencil, hold it not quite so close to the tip of it in order to force myself to not press down so hard because, for this layer, I just want it really light. Now I'm using my little blender dipped in Gamsol to blend these out, and you can see how it just sort of melts the pigment and moves it around, and that's why it's filling in all that space. You can pick up these little blending sticks at the art supply store, craft store, online, pretty much anywhere that sells colored pencils will have them. Sometimes they're called tortillas. That's not the right word. It's that word that starts with a T that I never can remember. And okay, they're either called that or they're called blending stumps, and they're not the same thing. One of them is hollow in the middle, the other is solid. This one is solid. I think it's actually a blending stump, and I think the tortellinis are hollow. It's just the way the paper's rolled. Either will work. After I get through blending out all my neutrals, I just chose a selection of brighter colors to go back in and start adding some color. Allergies, sorry, and I can't edit. Bear with me. And that little rag that I have, that's just a small piece of a chamois. And it works really well for blending. Sometimes I don't even use Gamsol with it. I'll just put thick layers of colored pencil and then rub it with the chamois, and it will help to blend. But the reason I use that is because when you put the Gamsol on there, it kind of melts the waxy pigment in the pencil so that you can move it around and blend it. And if I have too much pigment, or I just want to smooth out those edges, the chamois works fine. You know what? You can use a paper towel. I just use the chamois because it's in my little color pencil box, okay? There's nothing magic in it, except if you use it on its own to blend. It does work. And you're going to see me go through several colors, several layers. Each layer is very light. I'm not putting on a lot of pigment each time. A word about the Gamsol. You can get odorless mineral spirits at the hardware store. So far, and I've researched it because, it's the kind of OCD thing that I do. So far, I've not been able to find a readily available brand that is chemically the same as Gamsol. Now, does that matter? I don't know. The two brands that I looked up, one is carried by Lowe's, the other is Home Depot here in the U.S. They are marketed as odorless mineral spirits, and they are actually deodorized kerosene is what they are. And Gamsol is made from something called naphtha. They're all petroleum products. They're all solvents. They're all toxic. They're all flammable, and they probably all work the same way or very similar anyway. So if you want to try the cheaper version at the hardware store, go for it. It is not the same as Gamsol, but it might work the same as Gamsol. And in my world, that's perfectly fine. You know, I just haven't had a chance to try them. I bought the Gamsol, I'm using it. I bought a really big tin of it, and I love it. So I've not experimented with the cheaper alternatives, but you know, I'm all about that, as long as they work as well as the original. So yeah, you just continue to add colors and blend, and a lot of the times I just take my little pencil and make little scribbles all over the page in random spots. I'm not doing any kind of deliberate shading or contouring or anything like that. I am literally just splotching color on there. That's the effect that I want, because I don't like to have to think too much. And I did this while we were watching TV, start to finish. It took a long time because I fussed with it a lot. You know, I mean, this whole process does not take a long time unless you're like me and you just continue to keep adding layers and colors. And I probably played with this for a good 2 hours. And, you know, it didn't seem like it because I was watching TV. But, yeah, it did take a while. You do kind of want to pay attention to the colors you're using because you are blending them together. So, yeah, you can get muddy. So make sure that you're kind of careful with that. And blending as you go like this doesn't cause too much of a problem. You know, if you start adding 3 or 4 colors and then blend them all at the same time, that's when you run into some serious problems. But if you just add 1 color at a time, blend as you go, generally you can avoid mud, but I always try to be on the safe side and don't mess too much with colors that don't like each other. You know, the purple and the green, I'm kind of taking a chance there, but I'm just being very selective and very careful about where I put them and how I blend. I don't like to have to think too much, and you really don't with this. You know, just as long as you keep the application light, you're good. I changed the shade of green 3 or 4 times right there because I had a hard time deciding which way to go. I knew I wanted just a little pop of like a lime green, so that's what I'm doing here. And then I ended up doing it again at the end because after I put this lime green on, I decided that the colors looked too separate. They really weren't blending like I wanted. So I added my favorite neutral, blends everything, and that's yellow ochre. I don't know what it is about yellow ochre, but it just seems to make everything happier. It really, really does. And sometimes you just can't, it's not an obvious change, it's just a very subtle thing. I don't even know if you'll be able to tell when I do it, but I'm fixing to do it here eventually. Oh, okay, not yet. I'm still blending. I could have edited some of this out, I suppose, because it's really just more of the same. Yeah, just different little color blobs here and there. And okay, you see those little circles that I'm avoiding? Yeah, they've got all kinds of blended smears inside, and that's okay because at the end, and I don't film this because I got tired of filming, but at the end, I did go in with just a black permanent marker and just made those circles black. And I also used a permanent marker to go over the existing black outlines just to bring them out a little because they can get a little muted after you start smearing all of this colored pencil pigment all over them. And I am still adding. Yeah, I decided it needed like a bluish violet color. And this is why it took so long. I mean, the process itself does not take long. You can finish one of these in, just slightly longer than it takes to do regular coloring. But if you do like me and just continually add more little colors and layers and splotches, you can work on this for days. And I really like these big open designs like this, and that's why I chose this one, because it has a lot of open area for blending. And when it comes to coloring and a lot of coloring book images that you see, they're very, very detailed with tiny, teeny, tiny little places to color in, which is something I love to do when I'm in the mood for that, but it's really hard to blend with those. So that's why I chose this open design. Okay, here I am putting the yellow ochre over pretty much everything, just kind of giving it a light go over. And you may not be able to tell, but it does kind of help to make everything more blendy and go together. It makes it warmer and richer, and I just like it. And then after I finished that, I took my little, look at my hand, look at my little hand go, woo, oh, I'm speedy. That's funny. Okay, I used my chamois to kind of blend it in and remove the excess. But then I blended away all of my lime green. So here I am adding it back in, because that's what I do. I put it on, I take it off, I put it on again. Oh yeah, the show wasn't over, so I had more time. I just kept going. And you can see I kind of wrinkled my paper at the bottom. I do that on every single page that I color. Yeah, it's my trademark, kind of like my signature. You just have to look for the wrinkle, the little crease there. Yeah, it's what I do, apparently. It's because I get overzealous in my blending. And now I'm taking the blender and blending in the last of that lime green, and then any little areas that I felt needed to be blendier, because I really like it blendy. Okay, this is like a drinking game. How many times have I said blend since the beginning? I'm having a hard time coming up with another word for it, but that's okay, because hopefully I'm not annoying everyone with my overuse of the word blend. I'm so bad at voiceovers. Okay, I'm happy with the coloring part. Now I'm doing the background, and I don't show you the whole thing because I got tired of filming. But I did the same thing. I started out with neutral colors for the background, and then over that I just added my background colors that I wanted. Same process, color blend, color blend, color blend. And there's the finished product. And you can see it is extremely blendy. The colors just seem to kind of melt into each other. And the finish is completely smooth, no texture. It looks almost like it's printed on the paper. And I do use a high quality paper. It's just a text weight computer paper, but it is a good high quality computer paper. These are pictures of some other doodles that I have colored using the same method, and then some of them I've embellished because it's fun to embellish. I told him I'm doing a voiceover, and he's over there making noise. This one I think is my favorite. It just ended up being the blendiest of all. So give it a try. Get you some Prismacolors and some Gamsol, and go for it. I hope you enjoyed this. The end.